Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. Gold and silver seem to be under attack to some degree, and that's to say the least. To give you a little context, Merrill Lynch caught manipulating silver prices or silver markets by trillions of dollars, placing false buy orders. Also, JP Morgan. We also have US-China trade wars influencing prices, stock market volatility, the stuff in Hong Kong. We also have the Fed cutting interest rates and more. Right now, it is a crazy time for silver and gold. Oh, by the way, we also have the Hong Kong protest, the deflating dollar, and just economic insecurity or fear as well. So all of these things play a huge part into precious metals price, whether it's silver shortages, which is another one to mention. There's factors at play, whether it's supply and demand, whether it's economic insecurity, whether it's the political side of it, and this is stuff that will highly be attracting people to precious metals. U.S. drones sent to attack Hong Kong's oil supply or oil fields. This is all stuff that is relevant, and some of it's for the better, some of it's for the worse. For futures contracts becoming more profitable, this is going to hurt gold and silver prices because that means people will be going back to their comfort zone where they like to invest, which is the day trading, marginal trading, digital side of things. But when you have something like the US-China trade wars, causing fear, President Trump wanting to do the whole deal at once, but they did find some negotiation. So that also hurt prices as well. At first, it boosted prices, but then once the negotiating started happening and they found some middle ground, it hurt the prices. So there's the whole point I'm trying to get to is on a day-to-day scale, there could be a huge thing or a huge factor at play to spike prices or drop prices. So don't be too emotionally attached from the day-to-day price of it. Tomorrow, the Federal Reserve is supposed to make 1 to 3 more interest rate cuts, which is going to highly influence prices. So if you see a huge spike or a huge downfall in prices, you know why. But they recover pretty easily and very quick. It's not like something, where in the cryptocurrency world, when JP Morgan called Bitcoin a scam, it dropped thousands of dollars within a day or two. It's not that drastic because precious metals do have some fundamental value and they have a foundation attached to it. It's not as speculative as Bitcoin, but there definitely is speculation at bay, and it's becoming more obvious that the prices are being manipulated more and more. Also, to say another thing that's happened, JP Morgan got caught with a whole bunch of fake gold bars, $5 million in gold bars or misprinted bars, and they can't find where the main supplier came from or where it originated from. And this is all stuff, and by the way, those bars were used for black market trading as well. So, I just named probably 10 to 15 different things that highly influence the prices from a day-to-day scale. From emotional attachment, from speculative fear, from price manipulation, a bubble side of it, the central banks, the political side of it, just the surplus of it, supply and demand, all are incorporated in these prices at levels that more than most people will agree or even want to acknowledge. You want to think that gold and silver have strong intrinsic value, which they do, but that would overcome some of these obstacles or some of these things thrown at them. But in the reality, the prices really do reflect upon those. I mean, look just when the US-China trade war thing started. That shot prices up to almost $20 when silver was sitting at $15 for a while, for several months. And then something like that, with the snap of a finger, can boost prices dramatically. But then you also see the other side of it where prices can drop dramatically. Silver going down to $17 when it was just almost at the $20 range. So a lot of people are probably extremely just overwhelmed and really confused on where the prices are headed. Is it a bull market? Are we in a bullish trend? Or is this some stagnant middle ground? Or is it a bear market or price is going to start falling? And a lot of people try to analyze this, try to speculate, try to do price forecasts or price predictions, and they really are inaccurate, to say the least. It's trying to predict the weather, but even less than that because you have no information. Well, I guess you do have some. I'll compare it to the weather because, trying to predict the weather, you have to look at, historic or, previously where the weather's coming from, the wind patterns, all that, humidity in the air. And with silver forecasts or price predictions, you have to look at the economic factors at play, Fed rates getting cut, What is Donald Trump doing with the trade wars? What is all this stuff? And you can kind of get an idea ahead of most other people, other investors, on where the prices are going to go. Now, I knew that there was probably going to be a correction happening when silver was at that $19.50 range for several reasons. I made a video talking about it specifically, and some people doubted me and they thought it was going to keep going higher. But looking at the circumstances, in front of me that were laying on the table, you can see that prices probably were going to drop. There was a 40% increase in coin shops. People were selling their gold and silver. It was a huge fall of it. There was I forget which country it was. I think it was India, but they had some holiday where they had gold or something and they were selling it afterwards. And you could just tell that everyone was capitalizing on some profits, dumping their gold, which could also influence prices. But also the interest rates were a very unusual time during that play. Also, stock markets and futures contracts started to gain profitability again. So I knew that a lot of people that came into the world of precious metals from that are going to be taking their money out and going back to stocks. So that's all stuff that you can yourself, start to educate yourself on and start being aware of, start doing some research to look at the signs, the warning indicators to see where prices are going. You can do it yourself. You don't have to read a price prediction chart from some news channel. You can do it yourself. And this will give you the benefit of much bigger, advantage ahead of most people. That's how I used when I was investing in cryptocurrency. This is how I use my tools, I guess, quote unquote, to invest in the precious metals. Because if you know these tools, if you can see the early signs, if you can see the warning signs, then you can also be ahead of the game and start adjusting your stack, whether you're going to be buying or selling. This is how people are so accurate when it comes to the gold to silver ratio, or selling at the perfect times or buying at the perfect times, because we don't have a crystal ball to tell when it's the best time to buy silver or sell. We didn't know that silver was going to top off or cap off at $19.50. So the people that sold there, they knew the indicators. They were looking at the economy, at the market. They were looking at the news, and they saw firsthand what was about to happen. So they capitalized off that. A lot of people held off thinking it was going to go higher, but if they could have just done their own research and look at these things, look at the situation at bay, you can see where it's going to be headed, at least for the next couple of weeks. Now, there are the unknown variables, the unknown factors that we also have to incorporate, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know will be happening, or we don't know the result of. We don't know how many more rate cuts the Fed's going to do, whether it's 1 or 3. We don't know what other factor might be coming in over the next couple weeks. We do know the 2020 presidential election is going to be a huge indicator, but that's still some time away. So for right now, what we have given, what information is given to us on the table, we can use to incorporate with our stacking journey and our strategy. And that is the best way to invest, whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's precious metals. If you can apply this fundamental stuff, these perspectives, this information to your stack and to how you're going to be investing, you will do very well, because a lot of it is speculative. You have to think how other people are thinking. Like with cryptocurrency, I was always ahead of the curve, and I made a lot of people on my channel a lot of money because I was able to think how the majority of people are thinking. Even if it's not my thought pattern or my thought process, it goes off of money. How much money was going into Bitcoin highly determined on the price, and how much money was coming out of Bitcoin highly determined the price. So if something comes on like JP Morgan calling Bitcoin a scam, I knew a lot of people were gonna dump their coins and cash out because they were scared that it is a scam or it was going to bottom out. So I knew Bitcoin was going to drop dramatically right then. But if there's something else like Coinbase being the #1 downloaded app, or Litecoin, Charlie Lee, leaving Litecoin to focus on whatever, or leaving Coinbase to focus on Litecoin, I knew Litecoin's prices were going to highly spike right then. You can use the same principles to precious metals, and I definitely recommend you do this, because once you start really understanding how these markets work, the speculation behind it, what factors are influencing the prices at which rate, because all these factors they have different weight values. The JP Morgan or Merrill Lynch price manipulation stuff might not hold as much weight as the US-China trade wars, or the Fed rates getting cut, or surplus or whatever the case is. You have to really, kind of pull the strings and learn from your mistakes and just get your hands dirty and start doing some research, and you can really start to figure out these markets. I mean, obviously there is still that unknown factor. There is a lot of stuff that is up for grabs, and you kind of have to, just play it out and take it day by day. But keeping a pulse in the market and understanding this stuff is definitely fundamental for any type of investment. So I'm curious what you guys think about this. Are you guys using these same tactics? Is there any other thing? Is there any other information that maybe you should be, or I should be looking out for? Because those are definitely all the main things, the main points. I named probably 15 different factors, but there is a lot of other stuff as well. So I'm curious what you guys incorporate with your price predictions or your forecasts, and also how does it influence your stacking journey? I definitely think silver has a lot of stuff coming at it right now, but it definitely is holding and standing its ground. So that's definitely really good news for the precious metals world. No market's always going to keep going up, up, up. There has to be corrections, there has to be dips, there has to be sell-offs, and then there's buybacks, and then you can buy silver for cheaper. So it all does come around full circle. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys soon. Peace.